So picture this. You've got a major international forum, two powerful world leaders, and then, bam, a very public snub that sends shockwaves through the diplomatic community. Today, we're going to break down exactly what happened in this sudden and pretty dramatic rift between President Donald Trump and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney at the World Economic Forum in Davos. And let's just dive right in with the moment it all really blew up. This is the statement President Trump posted for the whole world to see, publicly yanking Canada's invitation to join a brand new global body he's putting together. I mean, you can't get much more direct than that on the world stage.
So this all went down on a Thursday, right in the middle of this huge, high-profile gathering at Davos. But to really get why this happened, we've got to rewind the tape just a little bit and look at what was said the day before.
So, how did we even get here? Well, this didn't just come out of nowhere. It was really the climax of a very pointed, very public back and forth between the two leaders. Let's dig into the comments that lit the fuse on this whole thing. Okay, so it all kicked off with these remarks from Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney. Now, he didn't name any names, right? He didn't say President Trump or the United States, but he put out this broad warning that, hey, the way things used to work isn't working anymore, and that some great powers are using their muscle to push their allies around. And this is where it gets really interesting, because President Trump heard that, and he didn't see it as some vague critique of global politics. No, he took that personally. He saw it as a direct shot, connecting it specifically to the U.S.-Canada relationship. And here it is, the direct response. President Trump even brought up a new Golden Dome missile defense system the U.S. is building, saying it would protect Canada. His message was crystal clear. Canada gets its security from the U.S. and, in his view, should be a lot more grateful for it.
So when you boil it all down, you've got these two totally different ways of looking at the world, right? On one hand, you have Carney saying that middle powers, like Canada, need to stick together because just playing along with the big guys isn't enough to keep them safe. And on the other hand, you have Trump's view, which is all about American strength and the idea that Canada is dependent on the U.S. and should show more gratitude.
And this whole war of words brings us right back to the organization at the heart of it all, the Board of Peace. See, this wasn't just some symbolic invitation that got rescinded. It was for a seat at a new and potentially very powerful table. Right, that's the million-dollar question. This whole thing was just unveiled at Davos, and it really could signal a major shakeup in how the world works. So let's break down what we actually know about it so far. Okay, so according to the big announcement, the Board of Peace is meant to be this new gathering of top dogs from politics, diplomacy, and the business world. And it's being pitched by President Trump, who's going to be the chairman, as this powerful new group, maybe even a rival to established institutions like the UN. And when you look at who's running the show from the American side, it tells you a lot. It's this really interesting blend of politics, family, and big money. You've got the president as chair, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and then these heavy-hitting business figures like Steve Witkoff and Mark Rowan. It really suggests a new kind of diplomacy where business interests and statecraft are all mixed together. And the list of countries that were invited is just as fascinating. It's a real grab bag. You've got your traditional allies in there like France and Germany, but then you've got geopolitical rivals like Russia and China, all asked to come to the same table. And of course, that's a list that, until just recently, also included Canada.
So what's the big takeaway here? What does all this signal for the bigger picture? Because this is more than just a little spat between two leaders. This whole public fallout seems to point to a much deeper, maybe more personal shift in the way international relations are being handled. I think what's really stunning is just how fast this all happened. I mean, you go from a comment in a speech to a direct verbal warning, and then, bam, you're kicked out of a brand new global club. It just goes to show how fragile these alliances can be when personalities and national interests collide so openly like this.
And that really is the big question this whole thing leaves us with, isn't it? Are we just watching a temporary falling out between two neighbors that have been friends for a very long time? Or are we actually witnessing the first moves in a completely new era of global diplomacy, where the old alliances are up for grabs and new power structures, like this Board of Peace, could one day take over?